in 1988. In 1989, he entered Federal University of Technology, Owerri, Imo State, where he finished in 1995 as a graduate of mechanical engineering, automotive, engine. He had executive MBA degree from the prestigious Lagos Business of an Atlantic University between 2004 and 2006. He started his PhD degree in entrepreneurship in 2012 at Welding University, USA, December 2012, and had to discontinue to pursue other interests. In 2012 December, he was honored among other Nigerians in faraway Dubai with a PhD in management by Commonwealth University, Denisa. His work experience has taken him around various organizations, industry sectors, functions, and he always leaves indelible marks of achievement on his trial. Everywhere he has been, his experiences prepared him for his entrepreneur sojourn and focused on facilities management, General Motors, Leviticus Motors, CFAO, NMI, Mr. Biggs, Benil Security UBA PLC, MM2 Airport, Lagos. MKO left paid employment in 2008 to focus and grow his enterprise, Domain FM Limited, established during his stint at Lagos Business School with his partner. He is the GMD of GPFI Group, a multi-award service company. He is an adjunct lecturer for the Masters in Facilities Management program at the University of Lagos since 2009, as well as a pro facility management credential accredited instructor. He is a certified facilitator of an edge expert. An edge expert, a certified facility manager, a fellow of Nigerian Society of Engineers, fellow of Nigerian Institution of Facility Engineering and Management, a fellow of International Association of Real Research Scholars and Administrator, among others. He is founder CEO of DMB Group. MKO is a recipient of many awards and recognition from all over the world, including FM Personality of the Year, African, 3 times Best Facility Management CEO Award Nigeria, Real Estate Award Nigeria, 2-time African Facility Management CEO Award, which are Best FM Company 2012, 2015, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2022, and 2023 European CEO Best Facility Management Company of the Year 2015. Business Day Media Award 2020 Best FM Company of the Year, among others. MKO is a member of the Board of Trustees of Association of Facilities Management Practitioners Nigeria, a member of the Board of African FM, a member of Green Building Council of Nigeria, member of Institute of Directors Nigeria, member of Rotary Club Family since 1985, a member of the Ikoyi Club 1937, Assistant Secretary of Shooting Stars of Islam 1942, loves traveling, playing squash, table tennis, and have 5 boys. Management for this webinar today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I welcome everybody. I hope everybody can hear me. I hope everybody can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yes,
Thank
we
you
can
very
hear
much
you.
for joining. Thank you for the very elaborate introduction, and also thank to and the president has mentioned some of the challenges I know we face on the infrastructure side. Our focus is going to be a mixed, just for background. Today's training is a teaser. Let me use the word for lack of a better word. It's an opportunity for us to just let you know that we're here. We're putting together a series of training programs through the university that we run three times within the year. We'll continue to run that. As the president mentioned, the idea is for us to have collaboration between industry and the institution to continue to deepen the knowledge of FM and other professional, related bodies and area sectors in Nigeria, as it were. My conversation is, and this is going to be interactive. It's going to run, as I mentioned, on the platform. We're going to have a 45-minute session. We're going to have question and answer. Also, in the course of the session, we're going to have discussion. And feel free to raise your hand when I raise questions, and please provide answers. I'm not able to see the platform because I'm doing presentation. So you're free to make your comments openly. The coordinator we identify who to speak, and we'll take the person to speak. So when we talk about our agenda today, we're just going to focus on 3 key areas. We're going to 4 areas. Introduce the concept of facility management, and why I always with this slide on the introduction. It's very important for us. When I get there, I'm going to explain the reason why it's critical for us to pay attention to why we exist as a professional body or as a professional. Then we're going to talk about what is changing in our space. There are a lot of changes. I liken technology, facility management to technology in every space today. There are so many externalities that is having impacts and effects on the way we are perceived, on the way we operate, on the way we manage buildings and infrastructure and assets. And so we'll talk about some of those externalities that we need to pay attention to. Typically there are a couple of things that as facility managers we are only focused on inside the building where we operate, but that is changing. Now, how do we respond to those changes in our space? We're going to talk about a couple of things that as professionals we need to pay attention. One of it is what we're doing. Knowledge is critical for us, but not knowledge based only in our space. I'm going to talk more about that. One of the principles, this talk of this session is called Fundamentals of FM. I'm going to propose 4 key fundamentals for facility managers to pay attention to. Apart from all the other things you worry about every day, but for me, these are things that are alive. These are things that will continue to be alive. These are things that are not going to change in the next 5 to 10 years of our profession. So it's important for us to have a conversation around it and see how we prepare ourselves if we're not ready, or how we get embedded into those conversations, as it were. So my famous slide. I'm not sure whether all of you are aware that, and I'm sure some are, that we now have a standard for facility management globally. And part of the work of the standard is to ensure that we have common language, we have common team, we have common process, common system as facility managers around the world. One of the first fundamental components of that standard that was developed, a series of standards, so there are about 8 now, is the redefinition of FM. Before now, we've had several groups, organizations, individuals defining FM, based on their understanding, based on what they feel. But the definition we have today, as was put together by everybody within in the globe, who participated in the process, which has been accepted by majority of the countries in the world, that this is our definition of facility management, and it's very fundamental. And you find that I have highlighted some of the keywords in this definition. This was defined in 2027 as part of the ISO standard ISO 41011 2017. So why do we exist as an FM body? And I'll read the definition. I will take my time, because without understanding This will be missing every other thing that we're going to talk about today and everything we do as FM is a organizational function which integrates people, place, and process. Our whole definition ends there. Sorry, within the built environment. That was our whole definition. FM is the organizational function which integrates people, place, and process within the built environment. That was the whole definition. It ends there. It just talks about the activity, what we do, integrating people, place, and systems. But in 2017, it was expanded. And the reason for that expansion is to put a meaning to what we do. It is not enough for us to say we're doing this. Why are we doing it? What do we want to achieve? What is the purpose of doing what we do every day? We resume every morning, we go to work, we run around buildings, we sort out generators, run our HVAC issues or lift issues. Why? What is the reason why we're doing that? We're not just doing them for the fun of doing them. With the purpose, please, very important. And the major qualifier here is improving the quality of life of people and the productivity of the measure our performance on how we have improved the life of the users of the buildings or the spaces where we manage. And this is very important. Today, this is how we have been managed. In the past, FM, performance management is based on availability metrics. So how many hours do you work? Is AC work? How many hours? How many of them did you provide? That's availability. Is there tissue in the bathroom? Those were the metrics that were being used to manage FM in the past. But that's gone into the wind. Today's measures are, and we're going to talk more about it as we go on, quality of life of the people. Who are the people? People who use the spaces, and our spaces are everywhere: medical, to aviation, to hotels, to offices, to residential. Every space we use. Improving, please, very important. Not maintaining, improving the quality of life of the people and the productivity. There are two parts. It is not also enough to say, okay, a staff needs, personal AC in his space. Let's go and buy the AC and put it in his space. No. There must be checks to say that the person actually requires that air conditioning. Is the space not adequately ventilated? Is the amount of light? So in trying to improve quality, we're also not hurting the business. So it's important to pay attention to both. Improving the quality of life, productivity of the core business. Our job is... There's a disturbance in the background. Can you please mute? So our job is to ensure that organizations, groups that we work for can see positive, quantitative, data-based benefits of our existence in the organization, either as a staff, as a service provider, or as a department. And so we are measuring increase in the productivity of the core business. We're seeing how we have helped reduce costs or how we have helped increase revenue or increase profits, as it were. So productivity of the organization, and there are lots of achieving, improving quality of life as well as productivity of the organization. Anytime you're doing your plan, your budget, the question you must ask yourself is, how does this help the organization? How does this add value to the organization? How does it improve the organization? How does it improve the well-being of the staff? How does it improve the quality of the space? You can actually even help organizations by improving the space, and if the space are going to be leased out by the organization, they can get increased value better than the next building beside you. So these are part of the things, and this is for me, fundamentally, what our responsibility is as facility managers. What is changing in our space? Today, as I mentioned at the opening, there are a lot of changes, a lot of things are happening around us. And I'm going to ask questions. And I've said you can just signify the coordinator will recognize it. What are the critical aspects of our work that is changing and how? Can anybody respond to that? What are the critical aspects of our work today that is changing, and how are they changing? Anybody? Is anybody responding? We were waiting for answer for question one. How is FM? Yes, go ahead, please.
I can't really. You please come over again, sir.
What are the critical aspects of our work that is changing and how?
I would say technology.
So aspects of our work, not what is changing our work. What is having or what we're using to make our work better or in any way, but what aspect as fast managers, just define to you what we do, what aspect of that is changing today that you are aware of? Anybody?
I would say process.
Process has always been there, so it's not changing. So anybody can answer any of the three, so that we don't waste time. How is FM used today, and what major global trends are impacting FM today? So any of the three questions. It's important for us to know, and that's why
More human resource.
this question is
More
to lead
human
us to the
resource.
conversation around space. Yes.
Space
More
management.
human resources.
Sorry, two people are talking.
Smart building technology.
You are answering question 3 or you are answering question 1?
I'd say hybrid system of work is changing from the usual full office
Okay.
occupancy to a hybrid system.
So are you talking about 3 or you are talking about 1? Anybody's prepared and answer must situate it to any of the 3 questions, so that we know whether you understand the conversation that you are bringing up. So
We're
yes,
talking about
hybrid.
one.
So hybrid is more about 3 because it's a major step. Because 1 is about, we're talking about aspects of our work, which is we manage buildings, provide spaces. So, but your answer speaks to number 3, because, and there is also a further to that number, your answer. I will talk about it in due course. So let's move on. So how are the critical things that are changing? You can mute, please. Anybody, all the other people, I see noise in the background.
Answer the question. You're raising your hand. Mr. James.
Is anybody else talking? We can move on. Don't worry. Don't worry. Let's move on. We'll talk about what is changing in the space. And somebody has mentioned hybrid. We'll talk about it in the course of this slide. I want to talk about the remaining 2. So the important thing for us is that we manage other people's resource. We don't own the assets. Fast managers don't own properties. We don't own assets. We don't own anything. We are hired either as an individual, as an organization, or as a department to help somebody to manage, or an organization or an individual to manage its assets. So there are pressures on those individuals. There are pressures on those organizations in terms of how they view the asset, in terms of how they invest in similar assets or ongoing assets, in terms of what they get out of their current assets. And it's very important. And this is a major changes in the trend. And it can be linked to number 3 question I was answering about hybrid. COVID threw up a lot of spaces. Before COVID, we started talking about hybrid. COVID only, fast track hybrid. And it has not changed. It has actually, globally now it's believed that hybrid work has stabilized. A lot of organizations are still doing 50% or even 60% out of office. So a lot of office spaces have been, freed up. These are purpose-built office spaces. So it can put pressure on the people who have invested in those spaces. Can you please mute? Can the person please mute? So economics globally is affecting people, interest rates, ability to find right funding. On the people who put money in the assets that we manage, that we need to pay attention to. What is also changing on the basis of that is that, and globally, I've not seen that trend yet. Largely, in a very few spaces. Some of those assets are now being converted to other uses. So, industrial parks are being converted to logistics parks. Office complexes are being converted to hotels, rebuilt into hotels. And this is happening, across markets, across the group. This is part of the things that are changing in our space. And we need to be aware as managers of those assets, of those spaces. Second is that there are locations. Location has always been.
Doc, please, can you be moving the slides? It's still on fundamental of Catholic science.
The slide is moving. I'm already on. What's it changing? See,
it's not moving from yes.
Okay, so let me reshare. Apologies for that. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Sir. Yes. Yeah.
So, what is changing in our space? That's what is showing.
Have you seen the next slide? I'm trying to move the next slide now. Did it change?
Slide 6.
You are still seeing slide 6.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If you are on slide mode, remove the slide mode. Sometimes when the back not good enough. Okay, just try to run it. Move. Let's see.
Yeah, now it's moving.
It's moving.
Yes, sir. So you
Okay.
can
Move from slide mode. Apologies for that. So I'm talking about what is being, I'm trying to talk about number one. The fact that investment returns have become the pressure because of the fact that a lot of assets have not been used, returns have not been received from a lot of investment in assets. There's also pressure on interest rates, there are pressure on inflation globally that have an impact on how people invest in real estate. And this is not, Nigeria or Africa, is global. This is global pressure. There are also, conversations around, and location has always been an important, component, but it's now becoming more important. Second part is talent. Where can we find talent? If we set up an office or an hotel or a factory, they have talent close by, because when hybrid becomes an issue, people start thinking about how people can get connected to where they work. So talent has also become, very major factor. Low carbon buildings. We're going to talk more about it in the course of the conversations. People are focused on buildings that are emitting low carbon. And when we start talking about some of the concepts, we'll see how and why that's become an important high quality spaces. People are not just trying to invest in spaces or build spaces. People are also interested in high quality spaces to ensure that, because, and we'll see it on preferences, user preferences. A lot of young generation people are particular about the space where they work. This trend did not start before during COVID. It started before COVID. It has only been driven further. Rental premium is increased, especially on certified buildings, especially green buildings. Globally, you have between 7 and 12% premium on green buildings. Talk about user preferences a bit, and people are looking at what space is available, who are the users of the space, what are the preferences of those users. It helps them also to determine where they're going to put their investment or what changes they're going to do, what innovations that we need to do. One of the trends also that we've seen about conversion is that people are, remodeling rather than have go and build a new building. They find an existing building and remodel it to meet user preferences and all the requirements that we mentioned in number one. Uh, because what is important is that people are looking for return. It's important for them to put any money in any asset class, whether it's logistics, hotel, or residential, or commercial. They must be able to return the investors' expectation. And what are the expectations? I talked about what people are investing. You find a lot of investing organizations, consortiums who are putting investment together for real estate. They're also particular about what kind of assets they are putting their money in and what kind of return they can get. And so these are part of the conversation that determines where people put money on in real estate and in development and infrastructure. The buildings are also changing. We talk about some of the preferences on 1 and 2. People are looking at low carbon buildings, change design, change use of building flexibility. Actually, people are also thinking that if you build this building and fully build it as an office building, tomorrow if the office changes, what happens? We're going to be able to convert it to other uses. So there's flexibility in design and also ensure that the buildings are built to deliver low emission, to be circular, to focus on circularity, reduce waste, have less impact on the environment. And these are also part of the factors that are changing the way buildings, even the operations. There are expectations for us as managers of those buildings, of those assets, to pay attention to everything that's going on in the world and ensure that we're able to deliver value to the owners. Reporting is also very critical. We'll talk about it when we talk about data. Data today is becoming, we talk about process, we talk about system, but as FMs, most of us are still, struggling to actually put together proper data. Important component that is required by investors in the building. They want to see how their building is doing. They want to see how, all the various parameters in the building in terms of sustainability, in terms of waste generated, in terms of quality of air in the building, in terms of welfare of the staff, number of people who use the building. These are data that is used to ensure that the value that they've created, they've defined, that they want to create from the building is being achieved. And data today is also becoming a commodity where you don't keep anything to yourself. There are already platforms globally, and I'm sure very soon we're going to find in Nigeria where you upload all your data and you can find access to other building data to allow you to do benchmarking of your building to see that your building is better, improving of land. Take ideas from what last year in December we published the IFMA operations and maintenance benchmark for Africa. That gives you details of everything about cleaning rates, per square meter, per number of staff, handyman service, everything that you need to do in a building. That's part of the things that is changing in our space today. Data is because we talked about sustainability, ESG. A lot of organizations are focused on not just the economics of ESG, but also the fact that it makes them look good as an organization. So it's the demand for us to pay attention to ESG, everything from circularity, waste generation, waste management, to the impact, not just on our beauty, but also on the environment. And now we report them, are becoming very critical. And these are, 6 out of so many that I've said I want to bring forward for us to see that are changing our space. And as facility managers, we must be aware of these changes. If you have questions that I'm going, you can either post it or raise your hand so that we can have the conversation as I mentioned. So how can facility managers respond to the changes in the environment? First, for me, is that you must better understand your business environment and its impact on your direct building or your local environment. I've mentioned a lot of things that are happening globally that as facility managers, we need to pay attention to, because you don't want to be asked. You don't want your building investor come maybe during quarterly review meeting with the owners of the building and do a walk around and ask questions. Do we have data for sustainability for this building? And they say, go and call the facility manager. And they call you and they said, I don't understand what you're talking about. you find yourself out of the door immediately. So those are part of the things we need to understand what's going on and be able to ensure that we're working towards that. Knowledge is very important, and knowledge just not within our space, and not what is happening within the FM space. Global trends impacting the building, the assets we manage, and also you can find yourself managing an hotel today or an office today. Tomorrow, the investors come and say they want to come back to an hotel, and if you don't have any knowledge about hotel management, they will ask you to go and find another job. And so it's important for us to broaden our knowledge, and that's why we have created this program to continue to have constant engagement with you and find ways to improve your knowledge and skills around what you need to know more about FM. New skills. We talked about technology. We talked about sustainability. These are new skills that our fast managers are not used to. These are things that we must focus our energy on and focus our attention on to improve ourselves and better manage the buildings we have. Users, not the building. Mostly if you look at the typical FM person, if you ask him question, what's your work? He will tell you he has walked around the building a day, he has sorted out generator, he has sorted out this and that. But your drive should be, what are the users looking for? What are their pain points? What are the requirements of the users? What can I do to ensure that I'm able to deliver exactly even better than what they're looking for? So focus should not be on the building, on the assets, but how do we use the assets to meet the expectations and requirements of the users of the building? Data-driven. I've mentioned data. Data is becoming critical. You cannot create value in any FM space today, in any building today, without data. You need data, not just basic O&M data, but beyond that. What's the indoor air quality of the building? How does your AC operate? What's the CO2 levels in your building? How many users are in each floor? Which is your busiest floor? How do you change the way you operate the floors to ensure that users can benefit? Your meeting rooms, your conference rooms, your generator. What level of emission are they delivering? What capacity of the generator are they operating optimally? How do you work to ensure you're able to change the energy consumption of your building to ensure that your DHC is reduced as you go on? These are data that we need to monitor and keep and use also for our benefit in running the building. Service provision based on ESG. Today, focus as I didn't start today. Some of the conversation I'm bringing up, they're only becoming more prominent. They didn't start today. They're becoming more prominent because there are more demands now on the economic side. The people who are investing in building are asking questions about how buildings operate, how buildings are built, how the buildings are managed. And those are questions that we need to answer. And those answers must be based on the way we work, our understanding of the requirements and what we need to put in place. So our service provision must be focused to ensure that we can report that we're not having negative impact on our environment. Basically, that's what investors want to hear today. And you must say, this is where I'm coming from, this is what I've reviewed that time, this is where I'm going. And these are part of the things that we need to do as facility managers as we go on. What are the 4 key fundamentals of FM that I mentioned that I want us to pay attention to? But before I go there, I have 2 questions. What are the top 4 issues FMs pay attention to today? And what are the top 4 issues FM should focus on today? So what do we typically do? Anybody can respond. And what are those things we need to start paying attention based on the conversation we've had so far? Any answers?
So,
Go ahead, please.
can we say customer satisfaction?
So you're answering number 1. Okay.
Yes. Satisfaction, sustainability.
Yes.
Return on investment.
So you're already answering 2 or answering 1. So your answers must be tied towards. So when you're answering, tell, okay, I'm answering question 1. You want to answer question 2, answer question 2.
Okay, I'm going for question 2.
Okay.
User satisfaction as a customer satisfaction to sustainability.
Sustainability, yes.
sustainability, return on investment,
Yes.
and let me take a break from here.
Thank you. Anybody else wants to try number one? Okay, that's still number two. Number one, anybody wants to try number one? What we do, all of us in this room, this is what we do every day.
Okay, to also be to improve productivity of the core business.
Okay, so you're talking about number two. I'm looking for number one.
Okay, please, the number one question again, sir.
What are the four issues we pay attention to today? What we worry ourselves when you resume your building today? What are the top four things that you run around over? Operations and maintenance. Basically. Yeah, costs. Ensuring they're able to keep budget expectations.
Well cleaned.
Yes.
Health and safety.
Yes. That's fine. Thank you. I'm okay with those four. Thank you. Thank you. So we can continue. So we have described from where we're coming from to where we should be. And we're going to, as I mentioned, I'm going to bring up four key areas for us. And my four key areas are business economic impact, business environment impact, sustainability, innovation, and technology. Those are the four. So I've spent a bit of the time in the introduction, in the opening, talking about the changes in our environment and how it's important for us not just to pay attention, but to see how they impact the way our building operates, the way our assets is invested on or is investable on. So, for instance, as I mentioned, there are buildings in Lagos today. When they were built, there were a lot of ideas that the building was going to be fully leased. You find some of them 50, 60% empty. What happened to the investors? As facility managers, what happens to us when the building is 50, 70% empty? It means there are issues for us to worry about, not just for the FM point of view, but from the business point of view, because the investors are not able to make money from that investment. So it's important for us to pay attention to that. The second is that how does global business environment, economic environment impact our environment, our investment assets, or the buildings we manage, the assets we manage? What are those global trends? We talk about hybrid, we talk about low carbon emission, we talk here that are grant globally that we need to pay serious attention to and ensure that if we are doing business, anytime as a facility manager, our job is not just to clean, change bulb, run generator service, ensure it's cool, but to ensure that whatever we do has a positive impact. We're creating value actually on the owners of the business. We're actually aware how they are going to make their money from the investment that they have made on the asset that we're managing. So it's very important, and we must be conscious. And today, as you have said, some of these things we don't pay attention to. We resume in the morning. Our interest is we do a budget. We must find the money. We must do the work. And at the building, owners don't have money or not. We're not thinking about other ways. It takes us to innovation, other ways to manage the buildings, to reduce costs, and find ways to ensure that the client or the owner of the building or the investor, makes his money. Sustainability today, I don't know to what extent. I know a couple of people in the room, have extensive knowledge about sustainability, but it is the applicability of it in our space as facility managers, and not just to do it for the fun of doing it, not just for okay, let's recycle, let's segregate paper, plastic, the recycle. What data are we getting from that process? How does that benefit the owner of the building? How do we ensure that we have introduced sustainability, but the owner of the building is not, or the users of the building are not benefiting from that process? There's no return, there's no cost savings, there's no income, from that idea. How do we also make it a part of the process rather than an activity where people naturally, want to ensure that sustainability is practiced? Same thing with your spaces in terms of energy. Do we monitor what energy we are consuming per space? How do we work to ensure we're able to reduce it and the impact on the environment, greenhouse gas emission? Today, buildings consume 40% of natural resources and contribute 38% greenhouse gas emission. And so you can see how important it is for us to pay attention to sustainability. The amount of energy resources we consume, water, for instance. We use water across everything from processed water for use water, monitor and reduce the water that we use so that we can ensure that we're not depleting the volume of water, the body of waters on the ground, because we assume that water is not measurable. We have dug boreholes, so therefore we can use the water anyhow, but it's infinite. It's not infinite, it's a finite resource, and we must pay attention to it. So these are part of the conversations around sustainability. We talked about energy savings, renewables. There's so many things on the energy management. There are buildings today that are, zero connected to the national grid. They actually even, energy positive. They can sell energy from their building to other buildings around them. Transportation is another area of sustainability. There are buildings today being built without car parks because they don't want anybody to come to the office with their cars. They want to use e-bike or scooters. These are part of the trends that we're seeing in sustainability. So it's not just about managing the space, but the connection, the things around us that we're involved in. We go to innovation. Mention innovation. A lot. How do we change this space? How do we ensure that we take over a space and we see challenges, but we don't see those challenges as problems. We see them as opportunity. I'll create innovative solutions to ensure we're able to meet the requirement of the building, the users of the building, ensure return on investment. A lot of ideas today, that is being used to improve the way spaces are managed. We talk about quality of space. People want to invest in quality spaces, but at the same time, they don't want to invest in quality spaces. They want to ensure that the space continues to remain quality. Meaning that as managers, we must pay attention to what goes on in our building and continue to find innovative ways to manage them, from cleaning to equipment management to people. How people use, one of the key ISO standard that that's been developed for FM is user interface with assets. How do we ensure that the people who use the buildings are also conscious of the value the building is supposed to create, so that they're not creating problems, for you to find ways to ensure with that. And lastly, is technology. For me, this is one of the most important, components for FMs to pay attention to. In the past, technology has been an enabler for us, where we use eCafe, CMS, we went to BMS, BMI, and today is gone beyond that. There are so many systems, so many technologies that are being rolled out. All of you are aware as AI, Internet of Things, a whole lot, and they're not just for the fun of it. People, there are three basic uses today for technology. First is, designing spaces. Either design or redesign. How do we use technology to redesign? Because if you don't have information about the users, you cannot redefine the way space. You want to know how many people use the space for you to be able to decide how to use that space, even to manage the space, how to operate the space. Second is that it's being used to improve processes. So there are a lot of hubs today that are being used to ensure that processes that we're currently doing manually, that we're even using Excel, or we're even using BMS system to manage, are now done at a higher level with hubs as we have. The third is that the equipment management. So the AI is being introduced into equipment management. Probably using BMS for you to know where AC is working, even control of the ACs. We have voice control for lights. We have voice control for for TVs or for radios. But today you have AI control for ACs, where especially in the multi-use space, you don't need anybody. What the guy needs to know is the temperature of the environment at every particular time, and it regulates the ACs. So we'll say, yes, some ACs already have some of those features, but this is taken to another level. You can also know the CO2 environment of the environment without having to go to your BMS. In each floor, you can get what's going on. You can see, the temperature of the environment. You can see the indoor air quality of each environment. These are things that technology is enabling us to do. And for us to improve the quality of life, technology is a critical component for us to use. Same thing with energy management. The same thing with waste. How do we ensure that, and there are technologies today that's been deployed, globally in offices and elsewhere, where we encourage people to focus on every other thing around managing and operating spaces, as well as design for improvement of spaces. So these are the four key fundamentals that I believe, or the 4 fundamentals that I believe as facility managers we need to pay attention to. The business environment of the asset we manage, sustainability as a key component for us, not just as a concept, but implementation, understanding and implementation, innovation as a key way to improve the way we work, and technology for us to be improved and deliver the best for the clients that have hired us to do our job. The world around us is changing so rapidly that it's only as an agile FM that ensure value creation will change with it. There is a lot of knowledge gap. There is therefore the need for FMs to be abreast of happening around them. It's important for us, as I mentioned, we need to learn more, we need to continue to improve, we need to continue to find ways to improve our knowledge and skills. As facility managers, we need to know more beyond our space and know even other functions around the built environment, architecture, engineering, quantity surveying, and see what's going on around their spaces and how do they impact the way we manage our buildings or even decision on our assets. We don't need to play catch up. As managers, we don't need to wait until somebody says, do you understand this? And I say, sorry, let me go and learn about it. You are playing catch up. We need to be abreast. We need to know what's going on and start working towards developing our competencies to be able to meet those and able to deliver value-based solutions to our organizations, our demand organizations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Balogun. Give you a round of applause at this moment. I can see thumbs up and also a sign of clap. I know that everyone here has learning a lot about facility management. Answer at this point, and there are some questions that have been dropped, and you can also drop your question. If you ask them, you can drop it and you will see them and answer them. So I will answer the 2. They are asking if the slide them. Yes, on the WhatsApp group, if you're on the WhatsApp group, we're going to send you the recording of the video and the slide at the end. This is the full name of ESG. So keep your questions and your answers, and you want to talk, you raise your hand. Then when we call your name, you unmute yourself. Or if you don't want that way, you can drop it out. Thank you. Over to you, Dr.
Thank you. Someone is asking for the name of ESG. So what is ESG? So who can answer that question from the audience? This is not new in FM. Who can answer the question for the person? Anybody want to try? Yes, fair. Right.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
So ESG is environmental, social, and government responsibilities.
And governance. Thank you. So it's environmental, social, and governance. This, as I said, is not new in the industry. This is something that's been all is only being emphasized now for us to pay more attention to it. There are a whole lot of literature around ESG that we need to learn about. Governance, most times we pay attention to compliance, which is governance, ensuring that our reports, ensuring that our environment, which are important, that we pay attention to how our buildings impact on our neighbors. Mostly we wait for compliance to implement social. The demand is for us to pay attention to the social value of our building, of real estate. Same thing with the environment. What activities in our building? We talk about GHG, we talk about waste. A lot of things that we do within our building, that doesn't impact the environment. And there are a whole lot of topics questions and literature around those three keywords in sustainability. Any other questions from anybody?
Please, any other question? You can unmute and ask your question. Or you- Nathaniel,
Yes. Yes. My question is which ISO we is controlling FM?
I didn't hear that, sir.
I mean the what which standard ISO, which ISO we have facility management? Because you mentioned it earlier, I didn't get it.
Are you talking about the ISO standard 41001 series?
1,000.
Yes, 41001 series. Already about 1001.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. Wow, I really enjoy your teaching, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Sir, I want to ask this question. Is it possible for facility management to go or get involved into building contracts where you have as facility management, you have your electrician, your plumbing, your builder, blah, 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 blah. Is it possible?
So you are asking from the point of view of a contractor, not from the point of view of a facility manager who is involved as a facility manager in a project. Is that your question?
Correct, sir.
Okay, so that's a business decision. But as a professional, you are involved in, if you are in a building or you are managing a series of buildings and there's a renovation to be done, there's a new building to be built, the expectation is that you should be involved in that project right from conceptual stage. But if you want to transfer to be a contractor, as I said, that's your business decision.
There is a question.
Yes.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. My question is continue to be in compliance with standards based on the current economic trend of safety.
So as the president mentioned, it is important for us. It's not only when there are financial challenges that I've mentioned, it's actually more important now than ever. Because when you pay attention to, when you comply, your risk levels are reduced. So I'll give you an example. If government says your lifts must be certified, then you say because you don't want to comply because of economy, you don't have the money to pay, and to come and seal your bill, you're going to lose a lot of millions if that building is operational. For instance, it's an hotel, maybe 200 rooms or 150 rooms. Imagine an hotel locked for 2-3 days, how much money you're going to lose. So it's important to see it from the point of view of the value you will get by complying rather than the cost of complying. The slide will be sent, we already said so. Standard operating procedure for facility management, yes. The ISO standard has been launched, has SOP for facility management. So you can buy them on the ISO page. ISO page, as I said, 41001 series. Yes, Adebife.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. Thank you for the presentation, sir. My question is, how do we Can you hear me?
No, sir. We didn't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. My question is, how do we inculcate software applications into our facility management?
We already talked about technology. So it is not about how, it is important to ensure that you have technology to do whatever you're doing as a facility manager. There, you know, technology in FM is a training session on its own of 4 hours. But as I mentioned in my presentation, today technology has become a critical fundamental part of our service delivery as a facility manager.
Okay, sir. Mr. Benjamin, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Can you ask your question? Okay, at this point, does anyone still have a question where I will go 1 hour or 1 hour plus now? Everyone that joined, and like I said at the years that we are reaching you all from African University of Science and Technology. African University of Science and Technology is located at Lower Roundabout, Abuja. African University is an African university, and we have this. We are bringing you this facility management webinar from continuing professional development. University of Science and Technology. We have a whole lot of programs this year, and facility management is one of them. The course will be coming up twice this year. Stay tuned on the group chat. We'll keep communicating with you, and the president has promised this. You can also.
You're breaking. We cannot hear you. You're breaking, please.
Can you hear me now? Okay, you can hear me now. So I was saying that we thank you all for African University of that they would attend Airport Road. We have for this facility management is brought to you under our continuing professional development program. So under continuing aligned of management course, it will become make sure that we send out all our social media platform. Our president has promised the early bird discount. We will bring all of those information. And our partner, Dr MKO Olaminde, will be, pioneering their course and join and also get the certificate at the end of the training. So the webinar has been very the course itself will be much better and more impactful. www.ausc.edu.ng. You can also reach directly to our CPD at AUSC. All our AUSC. We are on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. You can check out all our programs. President to give us a closing remark.
Help, Mr. Benjamin. We have two people, him and Benjamin.
Before I call on our president, Mr. Dr. MKO, do you have any closing remark?
Yeah, I think we have two hands up first. Do you want to speak?
Good afternoon, everybody. Nice presentation, Dr. MKO. I'd like to find out if there's we can have access to a recording of this webinar to
Yes, you will.
do a review of it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Benjamin, you still have your hand up. Mr. Nathaniel. Mr. Nathaniel.
Yes, sir. My question is, though she was breaking apart, and I didn't really get all that she was saying, but then I want to find out the training on facility management is a professional training. So I want
Yes,
to
sir.
know, is it going to be online?
Great.
It's going to be hybrid.
I think Dr. Balogu should answer. Priska's line is a little.
Yeah, off and on. Yes, so the training, the FM training is going to be hybrid, run on campus, physically, while others can be joined online. As she's mentioned, we're going to run twice on the platform for this class, as well as all the social media for the university as well. And it's a certificate-based course. You're going to get a certificate for attending the training. We have another question, Mr. Yes, sir, you have a question. Can you please ask? Okay. Not Mr. Benjamin, there's somebody else with hand up. This is the presentation that we have done today. Will we get it? Thank you. Okay. And thank the university for partnering with us on this series. This is the first, and we hope to continue to strengthen our relationship with the university. Clearly, it's a body that's just been established to foster professional development. A lot of programs and courses as well. Thank you. Best to everybody. Thanks, sir.
Dr. Priska, are you still there?
Yes, bro. We are still. Hello?
Okay, sorry, your network is not very strong. It's off and on.
Yeah, your network is off and on.
I think when you speak, we can't hear you, but I think what is left is closing remarks by myself.
Yes, sir.
So I can go ahead and thank everybody for participating. I can see that we have over 50 people on the call. This is, if you like, this is just the facilitator has just given you the appetizer. So if you want the full meal and dessert and everything that goes with the meal, including a good red wine, register for the program. We also appeal that you help us to advertise the program. If you have colleagues who will be interested, share the flyer and advise them to attend. It's always very rewarding for to those who can come physically can come to the university, and you see where we are. But those who are not in Abuja, we've had people who connect to our courses all the way from Rwanda, from Kenya. So it's not just a Nigerian thing. So wherever you are, if you're interested, you can join online. But we will prefer to see you face to face in our innovation hub, where the PPD group are now. It's a wonderful training center. I would like to have you physically. I'm not sure there is any other question, but I know that all of you that attended the secretariat will get back to you. And Dr. Priska, are you still there? What's the exact date for the course? Is this starting?
We'll share the updated schedule, sir.
Okay, all right.
Them on the group chat and also on our social media platform.
Sorry?
She said she will be to be shared on the group chat. So we have a group chat.
Okay. So you already have a group chat for this group.
Yes,
So
sir.
thank you very much, and welcome you to the university. For those of you who are interested in higher degrees, remember that our main focus is even master's and PhD programs in various areas. I invite you to visit the university website, and you can see the various programs that we have. Thank you for attending this webinar. Thanks to our partner who has given a very good presentation. But if you want the full thing and the certification, and more importantly, the knowledge and the networking you are going to get, make due to join the course and even help in advertising the course. Priska, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof. The university website I have said is www.ausc.edu.ng. So you can see if we have typed it for you, you can see it there. Dr. MKO, thank you so much, and see you all at the certificate program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.